I think this topic kind of breaks down into two main areas why it's important, I guess, is that there's a importance on the science side in terms of being able to articulate the different chemicals that are being extracted and ingested by the general population, right? And the safety and efficacy associated with those chemicals. And then the other side of the coin is the commercial market side in terms of deal flow, right? So being able to have people in different geographical locations have a conversation about the sales of a commodity product, right? And being able to refer to the products with one word that can be translated across geographic regions, right? So I think that those two areas are really why nomenclature is so important to the industry right now, because it's brand new. It was never standardized. It was all kind of came from this folk taxonomy, which was developed through trial and error and kind of behind the scenes in the legacy market, right? Because cannabis hasn't been traded just since it became legal. It was unfortunately there was people trading it and selling it prior to legality, and they needed a language and words to describe the products that they were trading, right? And so it was really loosely put together, and people in different regions referred to products differently. And so it's really hard for all of those things, for everyone to come together and drive the industry forward if we don't have a common terminology or lexicon to kind of like stand on for communication purposes, is really where the importance is. And I mean, I stand really close to this, Brian, and I would love to hear kind of someone who is a little more of a outside of the inner circle of the working on it right now, and kind of hear their perspective on standardization and the nomenclature aspect within both hemp and cannabis. I mean, what's your opinion on this all, Brian?
Nomenclature is the forgotten obstacle child per se of the industry. I think you've got state by state regulations, you've got banking issues, you've got all these taxes, you've got all these quality control challenges. And I think the industry sometimes forgets that this is an additional obstacle that makes it harder for them, because as the example you were saying is, if two different organizations are interested in having a transaction on an agreement of a product, to even think outside and think we need to make sure that when you describe biomass, you're describing it exactly the way I envision it for this transaction to go through, is just wild to me, because there's so many other variables and obstacles that go in that I think nomenclature is the forgotten one. And I think no one's really talking about this right now as something that's necessary for the success of the industry. And I think as the upcoming weeks show, a lot of the major news organizations, MJBiz, AOAC, Emerald Scientific, are going to take a real emphasis on standardizing that so that this necessary asset becomes understood amongst the industry.